Everyone, welcome. Come on in. We'll start in a minute. Today is a brand new segment. I'll explain all of it in a minute. It's an experiment. It's also my birthday, so I figured on my birthday, why not try an experiment? So I'll have everybody join, and I'll explain to everyone what this experiment is, and if it goes well, I'll do it again a few times a week, maybe even more than that. We'll give it a full 1 minute of people joining here, and then we'll start off. And thanks for everyone who's joining on this little experiment to see this little journey if it works out. All right, we're at a minute now, and let me start. I'm Dean Obeidallah, I think, as you know, and welcome to the Dean's Report Live. And I often have a guest on. In fact, I always have a guest on the show with me. Here's the thing. I do have a guest, and you are my guest. And that's what this segment is about. You are my guest. And I do this on my radio show on SiriusXM all the time. I wish you could call in and talk to me. It would be better. But now there's a desktop. I can actually see the comments in real time. And when I'm talking, I can't look over at the same time. Each of you can see each other's comments. So the idea of this segment is to do a short monologue, not a long one. Maybe I'll talk about 8-10 minutes of a topic, and then give some facts, of course, in my opinion. And then people can see our fellow members of our community, your opinion on an issue. And on my radio show, what I love about it is that people from around the country get to hear their opinions of fellow, generally Democrats, on an issue of the day. They could be about a big political issue, or today we'll talk about the economy a little bit, and it's more personal to your economy. I think all of us learn from this, and that's why I enjoy doing it, and I've done it. And now, again, only because this desktop where I can see the comments here in real time, we can all see them more easily, I want to try this out, and we'll see if it works. We'll keep it to 25 minutes max. I have my SiriusXM show live at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so I've got to finish starting there. But so here's the topic. Before I start, here's the questions I have for you to keep in mind. And today's topic has to do with the economy. And the question is, how is your economy? How is it compared to a year ago? How is your consumer confidence and your consumer sentiment? Like, we see polls that say, here's consumer sentiment, but how are you feeling? How are you feeling about prices? Are they going up by you or not? Because I'll give you data points, but those are meaningless. It's really how each of us feel the economy. Because at the outset, I'll tell you this. No politician can tell you the economy is better or worse than how you're feeling. So whatever it really is, it's why Trump is dying in the polls. And that brings me to what's happening tonight. The reason I'm doing this tonight, Donald Trump is giving a national address at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Don't watch it. Go watch a Rob Reiner film. Do something constructive, something good. But he's going to lie in this about the economy. He might even talk about war with Venezuela, but I really think he'll talk about the economy. And Donald Trump has been saying, I'm not exaggerating, that our economy is, and I'll read the exact quote, A+++++. Yes, that's 1, 2, 3, 5 pluses. He's literally said our economy is A+++++. And J.D. Vance yesterday in Pennsylvania repeated that bullshit, that we have an A+++ economy. Now, there was a quote J.D. Vance said yesterday that jumped out at me, and I think you're going to hear it tonight with Donald Trump. And I want to fact check it at the outset. J.D. Vance said, and I'll quote him, Joe Biden gave us the worst economy in the world. That's right. J.D. Vance said yesterday, Joe Biden gave us the worst economy in the world, and it's an excuse for why things are not going well now. Now, a quick fact check on that. When Donald Trump came into office in January of 2025, unemployment was at 4%. What is it today? And we learned this from the jobs report yesterday. 4.6%. Now, in reality, I think it's higher. You can't trust the Trump administration. But at 4.6%, that is the highest in 4 years. That's where we are. So Trump had a very strong economy. Other data points that were concerning the numbers yesterday, black unemployment. A year ago today, black unemployment was 6.4%. Where is it today? 8.3%. Now, Trump won't bemoan that or talk about it because he doesn't care about black voters. But it's showing we're seeing a real slippage. Among white workers, it's a little down. Among black workers, there's a big loss there. Younger people are suffering horribly in getting jobs. And in addition, consumer sentiment, and those numbers come out, consumer confidence, the lowest in 3 years during COVID. That's the last time it was this low. Job growth, to give you some real data, in the 7 months since Trump announced his horrible tariffs, the average job growth in America, and this is stunning, 17,000 jobs a month created. On average, 17,000. Do you want to know what it was under Biden in his last seven months? 168,000 jobs a month. A month. That's not exaggeration. That's not data from the Department of Labor. That's how bad this economy is going. And it's why today NPR came out with a new poll, which is really showing other polls backing this up. Trump's approval on the economy, the lowest ever. The lowest from the first term or now, 36%. Only 36% of Americans approve of the job he's doing on the economy. And why? It's right in there. 7 in 10 Americans, 70%, say that the cost of living is unaffordable, including half of Republicans. That's right. Half of Republicans now say the economy is unaffordable. And we all see it. Now, I'm not going to speak for you. If you don't see prices going up, put a post. I'd like to see it. When Trump says the economy is great, he means for the billionaires. For his own economy is great. Trump's his own worth, according to New York Magazine, is up $3 billion since he took office from the corruption that we know about. So his own economy is A+++. But the rest of us, it's a struggle. At least it is. I'm not going to lie and say it's a big struggle for me. Prices are going up. I have to tighten my belt a little bit. I still have some privilege in that I'm doing okay, but you lose your job in this economy. Unemployment's going up. People are longer out of work looking for a new job. It's a struggle. So here's some more data points, and then I'm going to open it up to see what the comments are from people. And I'm going to read as many as I can, and I hope others will read it, because that's the point of this You Are My Guest, that we are making each other smarter on an issue. And today's more of a factual one than a political one, like what's really going on. But here's some data points. As of September, roasted coffee sold in stores cost 41% more than it did a year ago. 41% more for coffee. You've got the average cost of beef up 15%. Everyone knows that. I got to buy a steak on layaway. I'm like 2 payments away from a T-bone. That's how ridiculous it is. Poultry, fish, and eggs up 5%. Eggs are a little down, but poultry and fish 5% up. Look, this is not happenstance. This is Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs have brought us to this point. Then you had an energy report today. New York Times reported the U.S. households projected to spend nearly 9% more for your energy costs this winter. 9%. We're not even done yet. That means that's a cost coming in the future. And if you're on the 20 million Americans on the ACA, Obamacare, and Republic, still we're not going to have a vote until at the earliest January to give the subsidies. It's going to be out of pocket, double the cost for some. Hundreds more, $1,000 more, thousands more, depending on your subsidies and what you're getting. And to be completely fair, and I'm not fair generally when it comes to Trump because I'm giving real data points. I want people to know the facts. Trump talks about the stock market. It is true. The S&P 500, which are the top 500 stocks in the stock market, S&P 500 is up 14% this year. That's pretty good. Here's some context. Do you want to know how much it was up last year under Biden? It was up 25%. Want to know how much it was up in 2023? It was up 26%, meaning you had double the increase in the S&P 500 in the last 2 years, and under Trump, 50% of it. In the last few days on the stock market, S&P, horrible. I don't know how many people are in the stock market, or they have a 401k or an IRA. It is an uncertain time in the economy right now. Economically, crypto is really cratering. I thankfully don't own any crypto, but I know some do. And it's if you do your homework and learn about it, invest wisely, then it's another asset you can make money on. But Bitcoin is way down, $120,000 for Bitcoin. In October, it's now down to $85,000. These are big drops, big drops in stock after stock. And we don't live in the stock market. We live in the real world. And what does Donald Trump say? And I don't know what he's going to say tonight because he'll be on reading a teleprompter. He said, when asked about the affordability issue, his quote, I'll read it. I think we're getting fake news from guys like you, he said to a reporter. Look, affordability is a hoax that was started by Democrats. A hoax. So those high prices you see, they're not real. Tell the cashier, what are you doing? This is a hoax. This can't be real. It is real. We know it's real. And his comment, and I was on vacation last week. I read the book, a great book. I can't recommend enough, called 1929. It's a new book. It's a bestseller written by Aaron Ross Sorkin, who many of you know from CNBC. He wrote Too Big to Fail. It's a great book about the lead up to the Great Depression. And in it, there's a quote from the GOP president, Herbert Hoover, in 1929 after the big stock market crash in September. And Hoover sounds like Trump, more elegant, but like Trump. He says, I believe the newspapers would quit talking about unemployment. Our trouble would be over in a couple of months. Yes, Herbert Hoover blamed the media for talking about unemployment and why the stock market had crashed and why people were feeling bad about themselves economically. Now, he didn't use the word hoax, more elegant, more eloquent, but the idea of blaming the media. Now, we are not, even when you read the book 1929, it's good and bad. The good is we're not close to being on the precipice of a Great Depression. That unemployment went up to 25%. I mean, unreal. Stock market lost 80% of its value. We had, and one of the big reasons we can't have a Great Depression now, thankfully, is we have an FDIC. Your money's insured in the bank. Before, Democrats, FDR, and Glass-Steagall, two famous legislators, put in this FDIC. When the banks failed, and they were failing daily, in fact, FDR had to do a bank holiday when he first came in as president, sworn in March of 1932. Your money was gone. Gone. Think about that. Think about if you had to worry about if your bank, the money you have and you save is one day gone because the bank collapsed. That's the world that would exist if Republicans ran government. Herbert Hoover was against that, insuring deposits. Democrats were in favor of it. So that makes it less likely for us to have a Great Depression. But getting back to where we are now, Trump is worse than Hoover. Trump last night bragged about the new ballroom that's now going to cost us $400 million. It started at $200 million, $300 million. Now it's $400 million. He bragged about it last night at an event in the White House. And he's bragging about the new bathroom and all the other stuff. And he brags about blowing up ships, which is just murder off the coast of Venezuela and other places, Pacific coast. So you've got, at least Hoover talked about the economy. Trump did not even. He doesn't want to talk about it because it's bad. And if you're wondering, why would Trump call it a hoax when we know that doesn't work? This is real. I talked to Michael Cohen 2 weeks ago, and he told me it's just because Donald Trump knows one playbook. And it's worked before, so call it a hoax and maybe it'll work. It won't. So tonight, Trump will give a speech. It will be bullshit. I don't think he'll declare war on Venezuela. I know he'll address the economy. And what he will say, and I predict this, blaming Biden gave us the worst economy ever. Well, I fact-checked that for you, so you know that, so you can share with your friends. It's absolutely ridiculous. Trump comes in 4% unemployment. We're creating jobs at 150,000 jobs a month. That's where we're averaging 160,000. Now, unemployment 4.6%. We're averaging 17,000 new jobs created a month. And economic uncertainty is raging, as we see in consumer sentiment numbers. Trump's going to say he'll make empty promises. That's what he's going to do. We know that. The reason I want to do this today, and now slow down in my talking and read your comments, is to see how is the economy by you. And that's what I mean by you are my guest, because now I will read what people are saying. And I hope others, when I'm talking, read it as well. Again, we can learn from each other on these issues. We're all over we live in our little pockets around the country. And with my radio show, people call in and I get to learn from people around the country. Here, I want to do this as an experiment and see if this can work. And if it does, I'll try it again in the future. But the idea of what are you feeling? What are you seeing? And if the economy is good, tell me it's good. If things are fine, this is not spin. These are facts, so we learn. But if it is challenging and it is difficult, give us examples. What do you mean by that? Is it grocery prices? Is it energy? Is it rent? Is it housing costs? Is it childcare? Is it specific coffee or beef? Whatever it might be. These specifics help us understand what's going on. So let me do my best here in trying to go back and read some of the comments here. And again, it's an experiment. We'll see if it works. And if you're joining late, it's my birthday, so I'm doing this experiment on my birthday here. Some people, okay, stock market, Dimitri says, stock market is overinflated right now on AI optimism. It is. And the reason why the stock market actually matters in terms of consumer sentiment is a thing called the wealth effect. When the stock market is higher and you look at your 401k, IRA, or stock portfolio, and it's higher, you feel better and you go spend money. That's all based on data and studies. It's not me just saying that. So when the economy, when the stock market in your portfolio goes down, even if you're not planning to spend it, you go, uh-oh, a little concern. There is an AI bubble right now. And when we stop spending money, that's how we get a recession. 70% of our GDP, our gross domestic product, or simply our economic output, 70% is you and I, consumer spending. That's what makes America this unique bastion of economic growth. When we feel good, we spend money, the economy grows. When we feel concerned, you're worried about jobs, stop spending, recession. That's what happened. We are closer to a recession now. And a recession doesn't mean it has to be devastating. Just 2 quarters of a negative economic growth. We could be getting there. The problem is we have the worst, most incompetent president ever during what could be a difficult economic time. Incompetent on every level. So, all right, here's some other things. Jules asked, why is Trump intentionally destroying the economy? I don't know. That's a good question. River Coast Jane writes, I just want a job, dude. I wish I had a job to give you, but I know that, and I've had friends who've gotten laid off who are very qualified, and they're looking for jobs longer and longer. And I will say this, and I don't know if Trump will touch on this tonight, but it's something we should all be concerned with because it's very real. AI is an amazing advancement. It's also going to take a lot of jobs. And don't freak out. We had an industrial revolution, generations ago, and there were jobs lost and new industries created. What we need is leadership in the government to ensure when AI takes jobs, there's a safety net there for people and that you can help people develop skills needed to go into other fields. But AI is causing a huge unemployment rate for younger people. That's what we're seeing all over. AI, there is zero doubt it's going to lose jobs from people. And the tariffs have contributed to the loss of jobs. Tariffs are easier. You can get rid of them. AI is going to be with us forever. Where it goes, how many jobs it takes, we don't know. But we need, and Trump will not do any regulations. Republicans do zero regulations because, one, their donors want to make as much money as possible. Secondly, they want to be the leader over China in the AI race. There's some truth to that latter thing, but we still need to be responsible about it. AI could end, I saw a documentary about AI. It was narrated by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think it was called The Terminator. It's going to kill us. No, it's not. It shouldn't kill us, but economically, it's going to be devastating. Okay, let's look at some more comments here. Diane Strickland says he's destroying the economy because his Russian master told him to. Possible. But if you want to share why you think the economy is struggling, I'd love to. If you want to share what's really going on with the economy, what you're seeing, that's really instructive for people. It cuts through the bullshit because I gave you data points. That means nothing. How is your economy? How are you feeling? Like, how is your consumer confidence? You feeling pretty good? Are you not? And don't be shy about saying things are fine. That's fine. We learn from each other by hearing the truth on these issues. Vicky asked, has Trump ever purchased groceries? What do you think? Not in a long time. Jules points out COVID was a hoax, is something Trump said before that as well. If the bond market collapses, FDIC is worthless. Dimitri, thanks for scaring everybody. Let's hope the bond market doesn't collapse. I'm not sure about that one. Let's see what other people are seeing about the economy. Diane Strickland says she's not watching Trump's speech tonight. Nobody watched Trump's speech. Why would you watch this? The only thing is, will he stay awake? Like, what's the over and under of him falling asleep during the speech? Right now, they are probably, maybe in a couple hours, giving Trump a cocktail of Adderall and Red Bull so he stays awake the whole time. And you're going to know if he's really souped up because he'll be over the top and loud. I don't think there's an audience. I believe this is just an address from the White House, the Oval Office. So we'll see he goes off script or not. I had Representative Ilhan Omar on my show last night, and I asked her, what do you think Trump's speech will be about? She said, it'll be about her. And she's not kidding in terms of red meat for the base. Donald Trump gives his base red meat because they can't afford red meat. That's the reality of what's going on. So let's see what other people are saying about the economy. Bridget Sweeney says the economy effing sucks. My friend Carrie says, I refuse to buy ground beef unless it's on sale. I want it to be less than $3 a pound. And if people share what the prices were before versus now, that would be really helpful for people to hear that. Will Silverman says, happy birthday. It's my birthday. Coffee prices are up $3 to $5 per pound. Absolutely right. That is backed up by the data. And so people are seeing it firsthand because I wonder if it's regional. Like, I live in Manhattan. Prices are jumping. As I've said on my show, that I live near Trader Joe's. This is not a commercial for Trader Joe's. I would take them as a sponsor any day. But that store has been great at fighting inflation. And now the last month or so is the first time I've noticed prices there going up where it was noticeable. Not a few cents, but you're buying the same items and you're looking at the prices being noticeably more. So it's trickling through everywhere. Even like Whole Foods is like, you got to do layaway. Also, by the way, the ACA subsidies being lost will affect affordability. If you're a family, like most families, on a fixed income, and you have a set income and set expenses, if all of a sudden you have to spend $300 more a month, $500 more, $1,000 or more, $2,000 or more for a family, depending on the level of the ACA coverage you have, because I'm also on the ACA often, from bronze to gold, silver, platinum, it could be $2,000 more a month. That means the family makes a choice. Can we even afford health insurance? So then you set yourself up to more uncertainties. Someone gets sick. You have to go to the doctor. Maybe they need follow-up care. They need surgeries. They need prescription drugs. All those costs no longer covered, even on a percentage basis. This is all affordability. And, the Republicans, to extend the ACA subsidies, cost them zero. Zero. What I mean by that is no one's asking to take back the tax cuts for their wealthy donors. We're just saying do the right thing, something supported by 75% of Americans, and they won't do it. So let's go back to some notes here. People pushing against data centers in Northern Virginia, too. In Arizona, I saw that. That caused the stock market to be affected today a great deal. What are people seeing? The big thing is everyone's commenting on the AI bubble because they're joining late here. What are you seeing about the economy by you? And it's fine, tell me. Oh, wow. So Richard writes, our Advantage plan is going up 30%. Beef is up in groceries as well. And the Advantage plan, I assume that means the Medicare Advantage plan. And I've heard that people's premiums are going up. Carrie Maxwell says $4 of ground beef a pound. New Mexico, Cooper, New Mexico ground beef, the cheapest is $5. Gas is $2.23. Gas is slightly down. If Trump begins a war with Venezuela, gas prices are going to go up and everything's unaffordable then. He is very lucky that right now gas prices are at the lowest levels in years. It's like $50 a barrel. It's off the charts low. So what else are people saying here? The only thing constant is gas. That's right. Let me go back. Coffee is nuts. A lot of people talk about coffee. Nigel Peacock says business income is down, not just about price increases. So business income is down. That affects people. That affects what people can pay in terms. Good luck getting a raise in this economy. And you may have noticed, or maybe not, Trump a few months ago got rid of a few tariffs. One had to do with coffee. Did you see any prices go down? No, because companies are never going to bring their prices down. The minute they see that people are buying it, they keep it there. They just not raise it. So they have even a bigger windfall in profit. So this ridiculousness of Trump going, I'm going to roll back the tariffs in certain areas, we won't see that unless there's enough of a drop-off in consumer purchases where the supply and demand. And the companies like, we can't afford, well, let's bring it down. So that's a big thing. Other things. We'll go this for like 2 or 3 more minutes because I'm going to keep the 25 minutes today. It's an experiment first time. If it goes well, I'll do it more periodically, and especially in the new year. The holidays are going. So Ruth says Medicare in general is going up. Natasha says gas prices went up 30 cents in Indianapolis. So that's interesting to see that happen. Ruth says gas in PA stayed the same. Ronnie West says the economy in Georgia is terrible. And that contributes to why Democrats won those 2 statewide utility offices elections in November. And Democrats won by 60%. And that was the first time a Democrat has won statewide in Georgia for a state position, because we won 2 Senate seats, but state position since the mid-2000s. So I think a big part of that is the electric prices are going up there. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill won for governor more than anyone expected. Electric prices were up. She was talking about the issue of affordability. She leaned into it very much. With, River Coast Jane, fresh vegetables are absurd for all of Mississippi. Phoenix 213 says, I'm mostly living on soup and toast. Now, if that's your choice, that's one thing. If you're saying you can't afford more, that's that's heartbreaking. And look how the Republicans, don't forget, while SNAP was reinstated after the shutdown was over, the Republicans have cut billions of dollars in SNAP benefits, which are going to take effect after the midterm election. So you're going to have a big gutting of people. And SNAP is America's premier anti-hunger program. It's the reason children don't go to school hungry. And they're so gleefully cutting it. And one day we should talk about it where people share their views on why Republicans do that. I truly think it's a eugenics. I think it's the idea of winnowing the weak from the field, the same way the Nazis did with people with disabilities. And I've talked to disability activists who have raised that to me, my friend Steve Way and others. All right, so the last few minutes here, Jewel said food banks can't keep up with demands. It's everything. Let's see. Karen says everything around here has gone up 30 or 40%. So you're seeing a picture of people where things are going up the same way the data says it. People are feeling the pain. It's very real. Lori says no one can afford to eat out anymore. We are seeing, it seems too simplistic to say we have a two-tier economy because we've had for a long time, a two-tier economy. The wealthy live a different life than the rest of us. We're seeing it now, though, that it's backed up by the earnings reports by companies. And you see companies like Walmart doing well because even people with higher incomes are coming to shop there. But stores where people who have more of an income are not going to certain lower income stores, they're suffering a great deal. One of the most stunning things was Delta having a great earnings report and saying they're making enough from their premium class now where they don't care as much about coach. They're going to turn the entire plane into premium class at some point. I just flew last week, and what is known as the Delta, there's first class and then there's this comfort, which is in between. They've extended that back in the plane now to 17 rows after first class. That used to go the first 7 or 8 rows. Little by little, it'd be 25 and 30 rows because they can make enough money on the premium seats and on first class and the markup on those, and they don't care about you're in coach. They don't need you anymore. This is outrageous what we're seeing. You're going to see, and there's two-tier reporting in Chipotle and Target and others. And yes, I do love economics, even though I have no background in it. I read about it a great deal. And I love it not in the term of academically discussing it, the intersection of politics, because we're all here about politics. So and let me ask before we wrap up, how many people are economically more challenged today than they were a year ago before Trump came into office? So we're talking about December of last year, if you can think back to that, to now. Where are people saying? Because I saw people organically noting that we were in a much more difficult position now. Medicaid, Karen says, I have to move. And that's a very true thing. And Medicaid cuts have not even been fully felt yet. We're going to see that more, and rural hospitals are going to close. And yes, it is in the red states. And yes, it is Trump supporters. But they don't give a crap. They don't care about their own base. Their base for Republicans is not the rank and file. It's the wealthy donors that fund their campaigns. And you can thank Citizens United bullshit for getting us there. We can't afford to fly and drive because of ICE. We'll talk about ICE another day. All right. Some people said Dimitri there lost their job. I'm sorry to hear that. Alicia, both hands raised. Things are challenging. Look, I wish everyone the best. It is a tough time. Look up programs, find out if there are state programs that can help you, because a lot of the press is on federal programs. Often there are state or local programs that can help people in need. If you're doing well, support the food banks. Make donations to organizations that can help people. We are here for each other. I always say being a Democrat to me means caring about people that I've never met and will never meet. But that's what it means to be a Democrat. And that's what it means to be compassionate, empathetic. So even though you don't even need the Democratic label, to me, though, Democrats at our best, we're about compassion and empathy. So look, I appreciate all the comments. It was a great experiment. We had about 350 people tune in, which is great. And again, it's a great birthday gift to have all these people tune in. And I will try to do this, a few times a week, probably after the holidays, maybe once or twice before the holidays, and try to pick topics that are engaging where you are my guest. And that's the whole point here. It's not me. I'll open it up this subject with some facts, some data, give you my opinion, then I want to hear from you. And to me, it's more exciting than having a guest that just talks to us. It's all of us are the guest. So thanks for the happy birthday wishes. I appreciate everyone. Thanks very much. And I got to go do preparation for my radio show on Sirius XM. And thanks for tuning in. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. And look forward to chatting with people in the future.